Hello, folks. How are you doing today? Antonio here once more. I am sorry for not having put out any videos in this YouTube channel last week. But yeah, better late than never, right? Today I have something a little new to show you. Instead of talking about my text-based strategy video game, I've decided, in the last few weeks that I was, gonna learn, something new. And then I decided that, hey, why not, show this new thing that I'm learning, right? So basically I am learning Rust, which is, kind of a new, programming language in comparison with, for example, C, C++, anyways. So yeah, it's pretty good. So I decided that I was gonna, write a new, a small program, actually another text-based strategy video game. No, not strategy-based, not strategy video game, but another video game, another text-based video game. And yeah, so let's take a look at the code. Okay, so here's the program. Okay, here's the program, battle program. Um, so first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna use standard, okay, std IO. What's IO? Input output. We're gonna ask for input from the user, as you guys are gonna see in a moment. Okay, and I've created a structure which is gonna serve as a sort of template, okay, for us to create the character that we're gonna play with, and our enemy, which by the way is this guy over here, but we're gonna talk about him in a moment. Okay, in Rust, when we create a struct, you guys know that by this point, I talked about structs a little bit. For example, C, um, and so we create our variables. Okay, so we're gonna have a name, which is the name of the character, obviously, which is gonna be of type string, right? Text, so it has to be of type string. Okay, and just out of curiosity, in C, whenever we declare a variable, okay, so we're gonna put here C, okay, and here Rust. We're gonna compare. In C, when we declare a variable, we need to always put the type before it. So, for example, if we want to create a variable called a number, int a number, okay, we always need to put the type here. Okay, we're gonna initialize, okay, this integer a number to 10. For example, okay, we always need to put the type here. In Rust, it's a little different. You don't necessarily need to put the type. A number, okay, I can just do this. All right, or I can say a number, okay, and you have we have an int here, right? They have different types of integers because different types of integers, they occupy different amounts of space in memory now, don't they? So, for example, I can say that this number, so 10, right? It's a small number. It's going to be of type I8. So what's I8? And you guys are seeing here I8, right? Integer 8. So what's this 8? 8 bits, okay? Or 1 byte, okay? So this is gonna, so attack is gonna be I8, and defense is gonna be I8 too for our characters. And health, on the other hand, it's gonna be I16. Because health, can be kind of a bigger number. If you guys play in RPGs, video games, you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay, right here we have our main function. But before we have our main function, let's talk a little bit about the function that creates the character. Okay, I have a kind of a big comment here. Okay, function to create character. So how do we create functions in Rust? Fn, okay, and you have to put the name of the function. So function, the name of the function, brackets, okay. This function returns, takes no arguments, okay. So in C, I would say that void, okay, but in Rust, if it doesn't take any arguments, I don't put anything, okay. And this function is gonna return a character. So what's character? It's struct character. So it's gonna return the character that we're gonna create, that we're gonna play with, okay. And I even put a little comment here that there's a bug in this program. Basically, I'm still learning Rust, as I said. I'm still learning Rust. And for example, if you require that the input is, for example, an integer, okay, then and you put, for example, ABC, so a text, so the program crashes, and also basically that's the bug. So as I learn, I'm gonna hopefully address this problem. Okay, so we're gonna create our character. All right, so um, first of all, okay, we use the let keyword to declare a variable. Oh, I didn't say that here, right? You had to say let a number, right? I'm sorry, guys. And the convention in Rust is a underscore number. Okay. So let mutable output character. So this is the character that we're gonna return right here. Okay. So mutable because in Rust, let mutable, the variables are by default immutable. You can't mutate the variables, and also it's different from C, for example, okay, and many other programming languages, okay. So in order for you to be able to change, to mutate the variable, okay, so we're gonna say let mute, and I want this variable here called output character, which is gonna be my character, um, to be mutable because for example, I'm gonna do battle with this guy here, okay, and he's gonna damage me. So if it damages me, let's say that I have a health of 100, okay, and he does 5 points of damage against me, okay. So I want to change, right? So I want this to be mutable. So let mutable, output character, okay, right. This other variable here doesn't have to be mutable, but I put it as mutable anyway, okay. In Rust, there isn't exactly a, how can I put this, a straightforward way to get input from the user, okay? Every input that you get from the user, okay, as far as I know, as far as I studied, I can be totally wrong. If I'm wrong, please write down in the comments. In order for us to get input from the user, we gotta create a variable, okay, which is gonna be of type string. So string new string, right? Okay, it's going to be a character, a variable of type string. So at this point, Rust has allocated the memory, okay, for this variable here. Okay, just gonna waiting for this space in memory to be filled with actual data. Okay, so we're gonna print ln, print line, same as similar to printf in C. So type in the name of your character that will do battle against the enemy. And like I said, there isn't a straightforward way to get input from the character, right? So to get input from the user, first you have to create a string, and then okay, and then you're going to read a line. So input output standard input dot read line, okay, and the reference to the mutable player char, our variable here, okay, dot expect fail to get input. What does it just dot expect means? It means that if something goes wrong, then this message is gonna appear that you fail to get the input. And you can put anything here, but of course, it's got to be something that makes sense, right? And now that um, we've read the line, okay, player char is gonna be equal to player char. So it's gonna be because this programming languages. I don't know if all of them, but at least Rust is. They read first the right hand side. Sorry, camera, right? So the right hand side of an equal sign, right? And then they store this information here, which we got from here. Okay. They store it in player underscore char, okay, in the same variable, in the same space in memory that we've had before. Okay, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna trim, and we're gonna convert it to string. Okay, because at this point, what we have is a string literal. Okay, we don't have an actual string with a capital S. Okay, right. And output character dot name is gonna be equal to player underscore character dot clone. Let's talk a little bit about this clone. Um, in as far as I know, in C, and I think that in Rust too, from what I understand. You guys, I can be totally wrong. You guys can write in the comments if I'm wrong. Okay. Strings are actually pointers, right? Strings are actually pointers, and the the compilers of C and Rust and other programming languages, they have kind of a harder time to deal with strings, and one of the reasons is because a string, it's never of a fixed size, right? You can have big strings and you can have small strings. An int, on the other hand, okay, an int is always 8 bytes. Okay, well, in case of Rust, right? I8, an int of 8 bits or 1 byte is always 8 bits or 1 byte. Okay, an int of 16 bits or 2 bytes, it's always going to be of 16 bits or 2 bytes. Okay, strings are not like that. Okay, so basically what we're doing here is we're making a deep copy of the string here. Okay, we're making a deep copy of the string here, and we're copying the pointer, the address in memory, like everything, as well as the text that we put here, which is going to be the name of our character. Okay, right. And now we're gonna loop. Okay, we're gonna create a loop here. This might be new to some of you. It was certainly new to me, but as far as I understand, this is my personal interpretation. Um, Loop is, in other programming languages, for example, C, which is the one I'm most used to, and by the way, Python as well. It's the same as, again, my interpretation, while true. Okay, so while a certain condition is true, okay, so we're gonna do something. Okay, right. So it's the same thing here. So it's just a normal loop. So how do you get out of this loop? You have to break, and you also have the break keyword, like in many programming languages. Okay, so what do we have here? Now let me zoom back a little bit. Can you guys read it? Yeah, I guess you guys can read it. Let me do this as well. Okay, we have a small text here. Basically, what the text says is that you have a certain amount of points to distribute, which, by the way, is remaining points. Okay, so 50 points to distribute across your character's health points, attack, and defense. Okay, you start with 10 points in attack, 10 in defense, and indeed you do, because I created a variable here called temporary, so temp defense points of type I8 of 10, and attack also 10. Okay, and 50 in health. Okay, so this is the sort of minimum that you would need in order to play this game, to do this program. All right, and yeah, so that's it. And another observation is that the after you put points in defense and attack, the rest of it will be multiplied by 10 and added to your character's health points. Okay. Now, print line, you have so many points to distribute across your character's health points, attack, and defense. Ln, how many points would you put in your character's attack? So, again, remember, in Rust, we don't have sort of a straightforward way to get input from the character. So you guys can see here that attack is I8, right? It's an integer. Okay, let me do this. Okay. You guys can see that attack is an integer, right? So, but I'm creating here as a string. So, but I don't like. It's different from C, right? Where I can do scanf, okay, and a pointer to, for example, some variable. Okay, let's say that um, some variable, some variable is of type int. Okay, so yeah, a pointer to some variable. It's going to be stored, in this place over here, this space in memory that I've allocated, and that's it. In Rust, it's not really like that. So, like I said, first we're gonna create this variable. So attack of the character as a string new string. Input output, standard input, read line, okay, a reference to attack character, okay. And now we're gonna sort of like redeclare this variable, attack character, as an I8, as an integer of 8 bits, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is, let's say that I put the number 20 here, okay? This number 20, okay, the way Rust understands it right here is like this, with a double quotation mark around it, okay? It understands that as a string. So the first thing that the Rust is going to do is, the Rust compiler is going to do is, okay, so I'm going to get this 20 here in double quotes. I'm going to trim it. I'm going to parse it, okay, to whatever type we're converting, which in our case is an integer of 8 bits. If it fails, we're going to print a message, fail to convert to integer, okay? So that's it, basically. We're converting basically from a string to an integer, and that's how you can get input from the user in Rust. If there's another way, please put it in the comments, okay? Right, but if for some reason the number, that the integer that you put here is greater than the remaining points that you have, or in other words, it's greater than 50, or if you put like -1, right? Because we have to check if that, this is going to be in an appropriate range, right? You cannot put more than or less than so many points, okay? Zoom out a little bit. Okay, else, if it's a valid number, then output character dot attack. So output character dot attack, okay, is gonna be equal to attack character. So let's say 20 plus the temporary attack points, which is 10. Okay, so if I put 20 here plus 10, 30. Okay, it's gonna be my attack. Right, and then we're gonna break out of this loop here. Okay, and if the remaining points are greater than 0, okay, the remaining points are greater than 0, because if they are, if you decided to put, all the 50 points in your attack, okay, so logically, you're gonna have 60 points of attack, but 50 points of health and 10 points of defense. And in this case, we're going here. Okay, we're going here. Right. Okay, but if the remaining points are greater than 0, then another loop here, because we need to check whether or not the user is putting valid input, right? And it's the same thing here, getting a we're gonna type an integer, and but it's gonna be string input output converted to an integer of 8 bits. Okay, doing some checking here. Okay, if the if it's an invalid answer, right, it's gonna keep looping. It's not gonna break, right? So notice that we don't have a break keyword here. Okay. Oh, and one thing that I think I forgot to mention is that both this loop and this loop here are inside of a rear loop, which is this one here. It wraps these two loops. Why is that? Because, oh, okay, I don't like my character, so, instead of, having to run the program again, again, and again, okay, we just need to, be inside of this greater loop here. So if the player accepts the character that they've created, okay, they're not gonna break out of this loop here. So this is the only thing that I forgot to mention. Sorry. Okay. And right here we have a confirm button. Okay, which is again the string new. It's kind of an enter button, right? Because it's all text based. So our limitations. So your health is so much, your defense, your attack, and blah blah blah. One confirm or zero to start again and insert new values. Okay. Okay, folks. So I realized that I've made a small mistake. Maybe you guys caught this mistake as well. Um, what we had here before was basically, we're confirming, do you accept this character that you've just created, right? And there are only two possible answers, 1 or 0. So 1, I confirm; 0, I start again. What if the user, accidentally or on purpose inserted 2 or 10 or 11 or 200, right? So we're gonna cover this case too, right? So that was the mistake. I had forgotten to wrap all of this in another loop, which is this loop here. Okay. Right. So now we're good. Now we're good. Okay. Right. So if you confirm, okay, I accept my character. So your character is now ready to do battle, and here's the information and everything. So their name, their health, their attack, their defense, and we're gonna return the character with all the characteristics that you've inserted. Sorry, with all the characteristics that you've inserted. We're gonna return, right? We're gonna jump out of the function, okay, and we're going to the next line of code in our main function, okay. So 0, then we're gonna start over. So we're gonna break. We're gonna break out of this loop here, but we break out of this loop. Okay, so what happens? We go back to this loop right here. We're gonna insert all of the information again. I didn't like my attack of 20. I want to have an attack of 18, so I can put 2 more points in my defense or something like that. Okay. Else, please insert a valid answer. So we're gonna be stuck in this loop here until the player inserts either 1 or 0. Okay. That's it. Right. So after we've created our character, right? So let mutable, player character is going to be equal to the result of the function, okay? That created our character, okay? And just displaying the information here, and then we're gonna do battle, okay? We're gonna do battle. So it's going to accept 2 arguments, a mutable instance of player character, because we want to be able to change our player character. They're going to receive damage, for example, right? This has to be displayed here, right? In their health, right? And the guy that you're going to be fighting, which in this case it's Volnir the Reaper. So any Warhammer Fantasy fans out there, okay, this is a champion of Nurgle, I think, one of the gods of chaos. Okay, and Volnir the Reaper. Okay, so this is a string literal. Okay, so in Rust, this is not a string. Okay, this by itself is not a string. This is a string literal. We use this method here to underscore a string in order to convert it to a string, okay? And then the other information here, okay? So let's talk a little about the battle function. We're gonna go down here. Let's talk a little bit first of all about this function here. So result, attack, defense. Okay. I've been having a little trouble with the random library in Rust. Like I said, I'm still learning. Okay. So basically, we're not gonna have any we're not going to generate any random values from a certain range as we did in the text-based strategy video game, okay? Because like I said, I'm still learning, okay? But in any case, it's very simple. You know, an attack and a defense, okay? Both are I8 and it's going to return I8, integer 8. If the attack minus the defense is greater than 0, return the attack minus the defense. Else return 0, okay? Because for example, the attack can be 15 and the defense can be 18. So 15 minus 18 is minus 3. So you receive the damage of minus 3. So in actual fact, you haven't received the damage, you have gained health now, right? So yeah, if it's negative, then return 0. We're gonna convert it to 0. And the battle function, okay? 2 arguments, and we saw up there a mutable player parem, okay, a mutable reference to a struct of type character. Okay, so that's the player, that's the enemy. A continued number, just a normal enter, just for you to go to the next line of code. And the turn number, I decided to declare it as an I32, so an integer of 32 bits, right? Yeah, 32 bits, because, or 4 bytes, because I don't know, maybe the battle can take too long. I mean, it's not gonna take too long because if you know how many, I mean, the range, the smallest number that an I32 can be, up to the biggest number is, I don't know, it's a big number, but in any case, better safe than sorry. So you are doing battle against someone. Okay, so any number to continue. So just an enter. Okay, so a loop. We have another loop here because we're talking about turns, right? We're gonna be repeating this until we break out of the loop, okay? Right. So continue number, string new. So, and like I said, I'm having a little trouble with the random number library in Rust. So in any case. All right, and what we have here is 2 variables that are gonna be constantly changing in every iteration of the loop. Actually, the values are always gonna be the same, because we don't have like a random. We're not using a random function here. Like in any case, if I was using a random function, and I do intend to insert a randomly generated values here in every iteration of this loop, these 2 values would probably be different. Okay, so in every iteration of the loop, the damage against the enemy is the result attack defense. So your attack minus the enemy's defense, and the damage against the player, is the enemy's attack minus your defense. Okay. Turn number plus equals 1 because we've declared turn number to be 0. Then turn number 1. So this is turn number 1. Okay. And precedent number 2 attack the enemy. Again, this is just an enter. Just for you to get to the next line of code. And after you do damage, after you do, oh, I'm sorry. First, we're gonna display your enemy's health, and if the damage against the enemy is 0, then the enemy's armor is too strong. You haven't done damage, basically. Else, you did damage. So you have dealt, so many points of damage against the player, and their name is here. Okay. So the enemy health is gonna be minus equals your damage. So if you've done 10 points of damage, the enemy has 150 points of health. 150 minus 10, 140. Okay, so their new health is going to be 140. Okay, and the battle continues until the health is less than or equal to 0. But since we can't have a health of -1 or -10, okay, we're setting it to 0. Okay. And victory, you have crushed the enemy. Break out of what? Out of this loop here. And since there isn't anything else here, so basically we've jumped out of the function, out of the battle function. Okay. Else, if the enemy still has health, we're gonna print a message here. Your opponent has so many points of health. Prepare yourself for the enemy's counter attack, and that's it. And now we're displaying your health. And the same thing here. Okay, same thing here, but in reverse. All right? Okay, so it's time to do some battle. All right. So I have my, where is it? I have my CMD here, my command prompt. Okay. And I've navigated to the folder, and I've navigated to the folder, which is this one here, battle_program. And from here, I'm going to build my project, okay? So I'm going to say cargo build. If you're familiar with C, C++, and other compiled languages, you know this keyword here, right? Build the project. But what is cargo, okay? So let's take a look here, and let's say what Rust itself has to say to us. Hello, cargo. Right here. Cargo is Rust's build system and package manager. So most Rustaceans, the people who use Rust, use this tool to manage their Rust projects because Cargo handles a lot of tasks for you, such as building your code, downloading the libraries your code depends on, etc. Okay, so this is Cargo. Okay, so we're gonna say cargo build. Okay, I have a lot of warnings here. Variable doesn't need to be mutable. I declared a lot of variables as mutable. I would declare a lot of variables as mutable, but since I'm not mutating them, so I think this is why I've got these warnings. But I like to put them as mutable because, you never know, right? Maybe you need them to be mutable, okay? Right. So now we're going to use cargo again to run the program. So cargo run. Okay. Type in the name of your character that will do battle against the enemy. So we had a Warhammer reference in terms of our enemy. So let's put another Warhammer reference here. So Arbal the Undefeated. Okay, so it's another Warhammer character. You guys can Google it if you want to. Put points in your character. I have 50 points to distribute. How many points do I want to put in my character's attack? So remember that I started with 10 points in attack, right? And 10 in defense, 15 in health. So let's say that I want to put 14. Okay. So Arbal, the Undefeated's final attack is set to 24. 14 plus 10, 24. Now I have 36 points remaining to distribute. Let's say that I want to do 13. Okay. So the remaining 23 points. Okay, so 50 minus 13 minus 14 equals 23. Have been multiplied by 10 and added to your character's health points. Okay. Do you confirm this, or would you like to insert new values? Want to confirm 0 to start again. Let's say that I want to do 2. It's not a valid answer, right? Please insert a valid answer. So, and we can see that the output here is the same as here. we're stuck in that loop. We didn't break out of that last loop. So let's say 30, valid number, 100, valid number. Okay. So I'm gonna say that I want to start again. All right, let's recreate my character, right? Okay. Yeah, I didn't like the last one. So let's say that I won an attack of 30. So I already have 10 points. So I'm gonna say 20. Okay, and in my defense, I want to put, let's say, 13. Okay, the remaining 70 points have been multiplied by 10 and added to your character's health. Yeah, this time I'm gonna, yeah, let's put another invalid answer again. So 45, no. So it has to be either 1 or 0. So 1, confirm. Your character is now ready to do battle, and the name of my character, it's health, his health, attack, defense. You're going to do battle against Valnir the Reaper. Let's see if you can win this fight. Any number to continue. Let's say number 1. You start attacking. This is turn number 1. Press in number to attack the enemy. 1 again. Right. Your foe's current health is 150. I've dealt 9 points of damage. You guys are going to see that this value is not going to change because, again, I don't have a random here yet. Your opponent has 141 points of health. Prepare for the counter attack. Your health is 250. They have dealt 4 points of damage against me. Now I have to 116. And you're guys going to see that this value is not going to change, different from the other strategy program. Let's say any number to continue, so I can say 2. Right. I have dealt 9 points of damage again. Right? 9 points of damage. And they have dealt 4 points of damage again. Okay, so let's say 1. All right, again, same thing. Turn number 3. We have entered turn number 4 now. Okay. So I'm just gonna enter a lot here. So let's say 1, 1. You guys already know I'm gonna win this battle, right? So my health is 188. Their health is 78. I'm gonna win this battle. That's the problem with not having a random function. Okay. All right. Prepare yourself for the enemy's current attack. Your current health is 160. Arbal, the undefeated, has dealt 4 points of damage against me. Okay. Now the enemy prepares for my attack. So in turn number 17, I have dealt an attack, and their health is 6. I have dealt 9 points of damage, so they don't have -3 health. They have 0 now. Victory. You have crushed Valnir the Reaper. Rejoice upon your glorious victory. Okay. Okay, folks. So that was the battle program that I wrote in Rust. Okay, folks, so that was the battle program that I wrote in Rust. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Rust is a great programming language. It's really good to learn. You know, the compiler, whenever you make a mistake, the compiler is very, very helpful. The it's Rust, for example, it's not going to let you build. I mean, Rust does everything that it can to make your program bug free and to get you out of trouble, basically, you know. So it's a great programming language. You guys can go. You guys can go to this website here, okay? The Rust programming language, doc.rust-language.org, okay? And they have all the information here. You can learn like pretty much everything. Well, maybe not everything, but at least the basics here in Rust. Okay. getting started, the data types. It's also great if you don't know any programming. This is written in a very simple, very good language. Structs, enums, functions here, generic type traits, writing automated tests, all kinds of stuff here. Okay, so that was it basically. And see you guys in the next video.